Hello again, beautiful people. Welcome back. I have a really quick and easy tutorial for you guys today. I was attempting to do a little back journaling in my creative journal, and I wanted to figure out a way to mark where I have blank pages. And it could be that I just didn't write in it, or maybe I have a sticky note and it's just not completed yet. And I was looking through my stash for tabs. Now, if you've been a journaler or a planner for a while, you may remember these sticky note tabs. They were really, really popular in the world of YouTube when journaling first hit YouTube. And everybody was ordering these off of like eBay and Amazon. People were picking up page flags from Target like crazy. I still have a whole bunch of those Target ones. And yeah, I have so many, and realistically, I'm never going to use them all in my lifetime. And I decided to use them to tab the empty pages in my journal. And when I started doing that, I mean, I was proud of myself for using something that had long since been forgotten in my stash. But at the same time, it felt a little wasteful because these were going to be single use tabs. So I started looking at a way to make reusable, removable tabs. And the one thing that kept popping up on YouTube, and I'm sure you all have seen them too, is where people take these sticky tabs from Post-it and they just put like a sticker of some kind and just reuse this until the adhesive wears off. And now I also have a lot of these, and I thought about it, but I really wanted to have the cuteness of these tabs in some way, shape, or form. So I tried to think of like something else that I could do that still utilize this without just having to like stick it on here somehow. And I I pulled out my Type A for Alexa reusable tabs. So they look like this. I may not have mentioned Type A for Alexa before. I may have, I'm not 100% sure, but Type A for Alexa has these really cute like dashboards for your journals and your planners. And she also makes these laminated reusable tabs. Now these are something that I do use in my journal. I also use them in my 5-year and stuff, but I know there's definitely a way to do this with just straight laminate, but I didn't have the time or the patience to try and figure it out on my own. And no matter how much I looked on YouTube, I kept getting tutorials doing this, this method with this reusable sticky note thing. But I came across one from like 6 years ago that was slightly different, and I will link that down below if I can pull it up again. It's a very long tutorial, like 30 or 40 minutes. So I'll link it to give the original creator or at least the original poster as far back as I could find. I don't know if somebody else did it before she did, but I'll link her anyway down below. So I took what she did and kind of tweaked it to be a little bit more aesthetically what I was looking for. And so the end results were these guys. I think they're very cute. They're super easy to do. So yeah, I'm going to show you guys how I made this, and I'm going to do a couple different variations using different things so you can see how you can tweak it for your own aesthetic. So for this project, all you're going to need is something to use as the actual like tab part, and then a colored paper of some kind. You can use colored paper, you can use pattern paper. You might be able to get away with cardstock. I just did not go that route because my laminator is not the greatest, and it does not like when I have kind of like an uneven surface to laminate. Like I get a lot of air bubbles. So I just stuck with paper because these tabs are paper to make it like a more, I guess, closed off lamination. So yes, you're gonna need some kind of thing for your tab and paper. So the different varieties that I have for today's tutorial. So I'm going to make them with a few with these paper tabs. I also have Coraline paper tabs that I've never used, so I'm also going to use one of them, one of the paper tabs from Coraline. You can use stickers. This one is a sheet from Pipsticks. I also took my We Are Memory Keepers tab punch and then punched a few paper. This is all paper. It's not cardstock. I did also stamped images. I have to cut them out for this one, but I did do a couple stamped images on neon paper. And then I am most excited for these. I don't know how it's going to work. I mean, I hope it turns out just fine. But I printed out a bunch of Courtney Diaz's like mini printables, and I'm going to attempt to use some of these as my tab. But okay, so just to recap, the only things you're going to need are something to use or to create the tab portion. So these paper tabs, stickers, images. I'm sure you could use magazine images too if you wanted to. Some colored paper. I have solid color, and then I do have a couple of sheets of like patterned paper. And then the last thing you're going to need is a laminator and some scissors. So I'm going to go ahead and, am I going to do this in speed? Yes, I might speed up this part just to make it go a little bit faster. But all right, let's get started. On to the assembly. Once you've selected which colored paper you want to use as the background for your tab, you're going to go ahead and just fold that in half. Now you could measure this all out, but these initial measurements aren't really going to matter because you are going to trim after laminating. Now when you stick the top portion, which is going to be the top part of your tab, you want to stick it on to the folded edge. So that way that folded side is directly behind your tabbed image, and it kind of creates like, not like a little tent, but almost. And another thing I would recommend when you are sticking it on is to test it out like I did there, just to see what part is going to peek out the top of your page. This part is very no muss, no fuss about it, because those, like I said, those initial cuts are not really going to matter. You are going to even these out the sides after it's been laminated, so I wouldn't worry too much about placement. Just make sure when you place your image on top that you give yourself enough space on the remaining three sides, because you are going to trim. So if you have like a specific size in mind, I wouldn't trim your paper down exactly to that size before laminating, because you are going to cut the laminate to open up the edges. So yeah, just make sure you leave a little bit of space on either side of the image, because you are going to trim it after. But yeah, I wouldn't worry about measuring it out super exact to start. So like with this one here, I left quite a bit of space on the left-hand side and the right-hand side and at the bottom. Like, I'm not going to have this tab be that big. I am going to trim it smaller afterwards. And I'm just going to repeat that process for all of the tabbed images that I'm going to use. last ones we have left to assemble are the sticker ones. Now, this one I just kind of left to the end because I'm going to literally stick it onto the laminating sheet. So let's go with this one. And now, since this is kind of sticky, because it is a sticker, I'm going to open up my laminating sheet and just place it down. And from there, I'm going to put the rest in. So now that we have these all laminated, here comes the fun part. Now, the original cuts don't necessarily matter because you are going to cut past the edge to open up the fold. And you're going to repeat that same process for all three sides. So by cutting out the edge here, you now have an open up fold. And it makes it really easy to use as a little tab. There you go. Now I'm not going to leave it this misshapen. I'm going to go ahead and trim up the edges a little bit smaller and definitely straighter. Real quick, I forgot to tell you guys, when you are cutting these out of your laminating sheet, make sure that you leave a little bit over your image. I mean, I'm sure you could cut around the entire image if you like, but I like to keep this whole top section of the laminate, and I only cut out the sides. All right, so that looks good. Now, I don't want to leave these sharp points, so I'm going to take my corner rounder and just round those edges. And voila! My corner rounder gave me a little hard time there, but that is a completed tab. And what it looks like on, there you go. I think this is a really cute, quick, easy way to use up your supplies and end up with something just adorable. And that is the final product. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and finish the rest of these, and then I'll just do a real quick flip of all of them to show you how they turned out. And here they are in their finished glory. I absolutely adore how these turned out. They are just so freaking cute. I definitely cannot wait to use these in my journal. But I mean, this technique here, you can totally make these also for your planners, or if you wanted to use it as an actual bookmark, you 100% can. Now, because these were made with paper, and I know my lamination machine isn't like the greatest, I only use these page markers on 1 to 2 pages max. I don't really know how it would work to hold more than the 2, since I honestly just use them as a page marker, not so much as like something to clip the actual pages together. So just keep that in mind if you wanted to make an actual like page paper clip type of thing, maybe not this technique. Anywho, here they are, the top, how it looks from the top. It's a little messy and busy because I have them all in there. I will not use all of them all at the same time, but it is very tempting. They are so cute. Alright guys, with that, I'm going to go ahead and leave you. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you guys so much for sticking with me and for supporting my channel and for making it to the end of this video. Thank you all again so very, very much. You all have a good one. Bye!